Darn. So if you thought the world would settle down on November 9th and we could all just get our fat pants on and eat through the holidays without too much commotion, well, you must not have been paying attention to 2016 and the year of the absurd. So welcome to the new normal, a time where politics, sports, entertainment, and even the arts collide into a random hodgepodge of weirdness, ruffled feathers, feuds, and Kanye West. But last week, the snowflakes descended upon America to protest the free and fair election of Donald J. Trump. And I think the snowflakes' presence caused hell to freeze over.
I said something that was kind of politically correct. I told y'all I didn't vote, right? But I didn't tell you. I guess I told you. But if I would have voted, I would have voted on Trump.
Folks, up is down and down is up, and Kanye West is actually becoming palatable to me. Now, I don't much care for the guy, but I will give him this. He's fearless and doesn't really give a crap what people think, and I can respect that. I can also respect this a lot. So much.
It's a new world, Hillary Clinton. It's a new world. Feelings matter. Because guess what? Everybody in middle America felt away, and they showed you how they felt.
Did he just come for Hillary? I'm speechless, almost. So I guess this selfie has become rather irrelevant. But if you think Kanye's rant has changed the way Hollywood or Broadway snowflakes feel about Trump or conservatives in general, not so fast. Because it's not since the assassination of Abraham Lincoln that a politician at a theater performance caused so much chatter. My goodness, take a look.
And Vice President-elect Pence, I see you walking out, but I hope you will hear us just a few more moments. There's nothing to move here, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing to move here. We're all here sharing a story of love. We have a message for you, sir, and we hope that you will hear us out. And I encourage everybody to pull out your phones and tweet and post, because this message needs to be spread far and wide, okay? Vice President-elect Pence, we welcome you, and we truly thank you for joining us here at Hamilton and American Musical. We really do. We, sir, we are the diverse America who are alarmed and anxious that your new administration will not protect us, our planet, our children, our parents, or defend us and uphold our inalienable rights, sir. But we truly hope that this show has inspired you to uphold our American values and to work on behalf of all of us.
Can't the man just enjoy a freaking play? Does everything have to be a social justice warrior moment? But you know, President-elect Donald Trump wasn't going to let the Broadway fairies come for his VP without at least one tweet.
Our wonderful future VP, Mike Pence, was harassed last night at the theater by the cast of Hamilton, cameras blazing. This should not happen. The theater must always be a safe and special place. The cast of Hamilton was very rude last night to a very good man. Mike Pence, apologize.
Trump will be Trump, but I agree with him. This narrative is tired, and these people need to get over themselves. This notion that Trump's election somehow puts diverse Americans in danger is baloney. President Obama went on an apology tour and extended his hand to the Muslim world after his election. That's far more concerning than anything the Trump-Pence team has done. Give them a break, or at least the benefit of the doubt. Wearing tights on stage does not give you the moral authority to disrespect or humiliate our new VP. You're the bullies. Pence was just trying to watch your stupid play. Next, she was with him from nomination to election. The fearless Congressman Marsha Blackburn joins me next. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, while some spineless politicians on the right backed away from Donald Trump to save their own skins, a few stuck by their guns, like Tennessee Congressman Marsha Blackburn.
I am not going to agree with everything that he says, but I definitely do not agree with or support what Hillary Clinton has done or what she will do. And you know, Tommy, I think it is so important that we keep in mind, and I'm going to tell you, Tony Perkins said this very well. I don't share his values, but I share his concerns. And many of us share the concerns for what is going on in this country.
You're darn right, and it's always nice to be on the winning team. Joining me now, my favorite Capitol Hill badass, Republican Tennessee Congressman Marsha Blackburn. Congressman Blackburn, always great to have you.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
So we haven't had a chance to speak since this historical election. So were you surprised by this outsider victory? I know you were saying from the beginning an outsider was going to win.
That's right. It is an outsider year, and all the indicators were there. And the pundits, the mainstream media missed it because they are so insular, and their relationships are just all within one another, within a very small circle. It's that elitist circle, and they believe their own press. And how many times have you been told, don't ever believe your press? And they did. They started believing one another, quoting one another, repeating one another, and we saw that's not where the American people were. The American people were ready for change. They voted for change. People that have not voted in years got registered to vote, re-registered, declared themselves to be Republicans, and then what do you know? Donald Trump won this election, and I think it is so exciting that we're going to have a change administration, and we're going to do some things differently.
And the power really is in our hands. And so it's a lot of responsibility as well, having a Republican in the White House as well as both houses of Congress. So if we don't do something now, we really have no excuses. So the pressure is really on. But before we get to that, I want to ask you about the Trump transition team, because we know that if the media hadn't already beaten him up enough through the election process, now that he's our president-elect, they're not going to give him a break anytime soon. So they're attacking him for a lot of his choices and a lot of the choices he's chosen to make thus far. What do you think about what you're seeing so far coming out of Trump Tower?
I like the decisions that Mr. Trump has made, and I appreciate that he is going for individuals that are skilled. And I have to tell you, when you are pulling together any organization, and certainly when you're pulling together a government, you have to look at the different departments, decide what your goals are, choose individuals that have the right set of leadership skills to achieve those goals. And then you have to fully support those individuals. So you're going to see that with Mr. Trump in this administration. He is going to continue to choose well-qualified individuals that are going to roll up their sleeves and get to work on day one.
And he's also reaching out to individuals that were highly critical of him, like Mitt Romney. There's rumors that he could be our new future Secretary of State. I don't know how he's going to do a better job than Hillary, but I have a feeling that he very well may. But I think that's what's interesting, because from the get-go, they were saying that he would punish those that spoke out against him. And no, he's actually inviting them. The same thing with Governor Nikki Haley, inviting her in, having those conversations, having those discussions. I think it's so important, and I'm excited to see it.
Yes, I think it is very important. Even Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, was invited today to go and meet with Mr. Trump. And she, in her statement when she left, said that she just appreciated the opportunity to go in and talk with him about the threats as she sees them. Not that she's ever going to completely agree with what he has to say. So he has been very gracious in extending the hand of friendship to those who have not been on his side. And I think you have a lot of members in the House, people like me, who are looking forward to working with somebody who is going to push legislation and help us get things across the finish line, and then he will sign them into law.
Do you think that some of your colleagues, even on the right, are going to be supportive of a President Trump? Are they going to work with him? Because there were many, and we've talked about this many times. I think that their tone is starting to change now that we're victorious. But there are some that never wanted to work with him, never gave the guy the time of day, never gave him the benefit of the doubt. Are they softening on this? Are we going to really come together as Republicans now that we have all the power?
My hope is that you're going to continue to see some of the never-Trumpers, as they called themselves, come over and say, hey, we're going to work with you. We want to work with Mr. Trump. He is the president of the United States. He was elected as the Republican nominee. Then he won the election. So he is going to be sworn in as the 45th president of the United States. And for those of us in the House and Senate, I think this presents a wonderful opportunity. So it's time to say, you know what? For those that were never Trumpers, they need to say I was wrong and I made a mistake, and now they need to extend their hand in friendship and in cooperation in order to get things done for the American people.
You know, and I'm very hopeful of that, Marsha. I really am, because I do think that now is the opportunity for us to do that. We've got an outsider in the White House that really speaks for many of the American people. And then you've got some that are still, of course, your establishment types, your conservatives that are critical of Donald Trump. And I think you and I are in the same boat as that. I don't mind anybody being skeptical or critical or anyone that wants to hold his feet to the fire. That's absolutely fine. But give the guy the benefit of the doubt and work together and work with members of both parties to advance something that we can all be proud of. I think that that's where my heart is. I'm wondering the leadership of Speaker Paul Ryan. I know he's been back and forth on the whole Trump ordeal. He wouldn't really forcefully endorse him. What's the feeling now around your colleagues about Speaker Ryan and how he's going to work with the president?
I think that Speaker Ryan is going to step forward and work with the president. He has been so supportive of President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Pence. And Mr. Pence was with us at Republican conference last week. It was a great visit. We loved having him come back to conference. Paul Ryan has been terrific in saying, I'm going to work with them, we're going to push this agenda, and we're going to get some things done. I understand that Mitch McConnell is saying that the Senate is going to be in cooperation there. I think it's wonderful to see the House, the Senate, and the White House all working together.
Such an opportunity. What do you hope to see in the first 100 days? What's the first issue that we as Republicans, we as Americans need to tackle now that we've got President Obama on his way out?
First things first, I think we'll be getting some of those executive orders off the plate and providing some immediate relief. And that will be welcome to our business community. You know, Tomi, one of the things we've heard a lot about is the overtime rule that the Department of Labor had put in place. People want to see that rolled back. They want to see the Clean Power Plan rolled back, because EPA and what they had forced on our electric power generators and our manufacturers is just awful. So getting that pushed away is the right step. Getting Obamacare off the books. Making certain that we're working together on a funding mechanism that we can begin to get this debt under control. Wouldn't it be nice to have a year where we don't have a deficit? We're adding nothing to the debt, and then we can begin to snowball reducing that debt by compounding our savings that we are doing, by freezing federal hiring, then beginning to reduce federal employees through attrition, and then through elimination of positions. You know, we're going to need somebody who is completely focused on reinventing government, because that's what the American people are expecting to see.
No, we for sure are, and we'll be holding him to his word on a lot of those things. We'll be critical, but we'll be supportive as well. Thank you for being supportive from the get-go.
Sure.
I know that there are going to be some friendly faces, and there's some unfriendly faces as well that he's going to have to contend with, but he's battled everyone from the get-go until now, so I'm imagining he's going to continue to do so, and I'm seeing a lot more presidential Donald Trump as well. Thank you, as always, for being with me tonight, and happy Thanksgiving.
Good to be with you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Still ahead, the Dallas Public Library is working to collect $75,000 to preserve this important memorial. Find out after the break.
We got a guy with a long rifle. We don't know where the hell he's at. SWAT officers on floor 2. They're taking fire with the suspect shooting at police.
9:35 p.m., the first police officer reported killed. 5 minutes later, 2 officers are down. This graphic and shocking video shows a man with a gun engaging an officer in a one-on-one gun battle. The toll now, 3 officers dead, but the carnage is not over. At 11:13 p.m., police report a 4th officer has died. By sunrise this morning, officials raised the tragic toll. 12 officers shot, 5 dead. 2 civilians were also wounded.
We will never forget that day or the 5 fallen officers we lost, but those officers deserve more than memories. They deserve a memorial. The Dallas Public Library is trying to make that happen. Take a look.
The downtown library already has an exhibit of personal memorials left by people after the July 7th killings of 4 Dallas police officers and 1 DART officer. To adequately preserve for history the multitude of outpouring from people, the library seeks public financial support to purchase special boxes, then digitize the items, not to glorify horrific crime, but to celebrate community.
Absolutely. Joining me now, Dallas Public Library Director Joe Goodice and friends of the Dallas Public Library Executive Director Kate Park. Thank you, ladies, so much for being with me. Now, we were speaking before the segment started, the way Dallas came together, and I was new in Dallas at the time. I still am rather new to Dallas, but when I saw the community come together after that tragic event, it made me proud to be a Texan. But what you guys are doing right now is so important because you saw that outpouring of support, but we want to make sure that we memorialize it. So how do we go about doing that? I know we've got some items here today, but what do we need to do to make sure that these are preserved?
Well, Tony, there were tens of thousands of items left at police headquarters, at DART headquarters, and at the police substations. So we've collected everything, and we have it at the library. We're getting ready to sort everything, and we've actually dedicated a room to this. That's how many items they are. We didn't plan for this.
Right.
We weren't in position, to have this many items, and we really just need help to preserve them correctly.
For me, this is going to be one of those moments in history that we do look back on that is hopefully written in history books, if the liberals don't have their way with them. But I'm hoping that we will remember this forever because this was a day to me that changed the narrative. It changed the game. We lost 5 officers, more were wounded, and it was horrific what happened. And I think we all will remember that. I remember getting the text messages because we knew that this would happen in other cities, but no one ever thought this would happen in Dallas. And when that did happen, we saw the outpouring of support. I saw the buildings lit blue. I saw on the radio the messages, and now people are sending stuff in. Do you take everything and do you accept everything that you receive?
I do accept everything. Many of the items we won't be able to keep, forever.
Right.
But that's why we want to digitize it, because we can if we make a digital record of it. And then it's searchable online. I mean, really think about it. If you were a child and you experienced this and your family took you to police headquarters and you left a letter or a little dinosaur that you loved behind, you gave up something that you loved. And then you could come to the library with your kids 25, 30 years later and search for it and find it and say, this was an event in our history and this is how my family reacted to it. And you can still see it. I think that's powerful. We have to preserve our history. And the way the community reacted was just with pure love.
It's kind of a time capsule of sorts in every way, really. But, some of the items here, it looked like a lot of them were from children as well. I mean, you mentioned the dinosaur here, but a lot of this looks like, the community came together, but a lot of handmade items. Is that what you saw, by and large, was handmade items?
A significant number of handmade items, and also people had, they wrote notes on the bill envelopes that they had in their car. So people, people were just so moved that whatever they had on them, whether it was a bracelet or a necklace or, they wanted to write a message from their grocery shopping list. They just wanted to take whatever they had around them and leave it as a token of a memorial. And just powerful to see the number of items that were handcrafted and because it's just powerful to see what items people shared.
And the children as well. I think that's so important. We saw a lot of these hand paintings, that they love their police. And the narrative in this country right now, to me, is something that I speak out against oftentimes, is somehow a war against cops or a sentiment of, I guess, distaste or disgust with our police officers. In the last week, we've lost so many officers as well around the country. And this is a continuing trend, whether it be a protest purposes or someone just a crazed lunatic that goes and shoots an officer. It doesn't matter. We come together. We support those families as well. So tell me about the boxes that are needed. What are special about those boxes, and how do you acquire them? What's the process?
So we have a list. We've estimated what we're going to need to save everything, especially the paper items, because paper has to be saved in climate controlled, which we have that at the library already, so we're lucky. But we need these special boxes. They're acid free and they have no glue, so they won't deteriorate over time and they'll protect the paper. And we have things in our collection from when Kennedy was shot, and they're preserved this way. And then the next step is to digitize everything so that it can be searchable online and people from around the world can see how Dallas reacted. So we are fundraising right now to help us purchase these things, because obviously this wasn't something we planned for and it's not in the library budget. So that's where the Friends of the Dallas Library come in, and they're doing a GoFundMe. So you can go to the Dallas Library website, which is dallaslibrary.org.
Very simple to find, you guys.
Yeah.
So how much do you need? I know we saw the number of 75,000. How close are you to that goal, and what can we do to help you?
We're definitely not as close as we'd like to be, and we will definitely continue to fundraise into the next year until we get to that $75,000. And then it's really, probably half the money that we ultimately need to be able to digitize everything.
It's a process as well, and it takes a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time as well.
Years.
It will, and but it's an important thing to remember, especially for Dallas history. There are some things that have happened here, and unfortunately, we've got two tragedies that are well documented, being, the assassination of JFK, but also this as well. And this is a moving moment for us that we do want to document and make sure that we have. Now, you said you're far away from your goal, but I would encourage everyone, especially over the holiday season, if this is something that a couple of dollars, if you have a couple of dollars that you could spare, what a great cause, and also the history aspect of it, so that Dallas can remember the time that we all came together. How far, if you don't mind me asking, are we very far from our goal? Are we incredibly far from our goal? What can we do to help you guys and make sure we get the word out?
We're incredibly far from our goal. I'll say it.
Okay.
Yes, we are raised on the GoFundMe site $565 when I checked it yesterday. So, and thank you for doing this and helping us get the word out, because I think people will be generous if they know about it. And
that's the thing as well.
We do want to preserve these items.
Because you were telling me before that there are people from all over the country that are mailing you guys things. So it's not even just in
There's
Dallas.
a New York Police Department hat. We got hats and patches from police, departments all over the nation. We even got things from international. We got things from Australia. So the whole world rallied behind Dallas, and it was an amazing, amazing feeling. And to have these items just really is uplifting.
And they're beautiful, and they need to be documented. Well, thank you guys, and I hope we get you closer to your goal. We're going to tweet it out. People just need to know about it, because I think that the sentiment is there, the want to help is there. They just need to know.
Absolutely.
So whatever we can do to help you guys, I'm really proud to be a Dallas Texan right now. But thank you guys so much for being here today. Thanks for bringing these in too. They're beautiful. Thank you for everything you've done. So up next, he's my partner in crime, and together we are determined to expose the hard left and get millennials to understand that, well, big government sucks. Turning Point USA founder and executive director Charlie Kirk joins me after the break.
I'm just a guy who wants to buy that truck.
And I'm just a guy who wants to sell him that truck.
So I used TrueCar. It told me what other people in the area paid for the truck I want.
And because we're a TrueCar certified dealership, I already know the truck you want, so we're on the same page before it even gets here. It's fair.
And it's fast.
Look good?
Looks great. This is how car buying was always meant to be. This is TrueCar.
Hanging string lights can take hours and cost big bucks. Even untangling them is a chore. Not anymore. Now America's best-selling home laser lights have all new shooting star action. Introducing Star Shower Motion. Watch the stars dance right before your eyes, or freeze them with just a click. It's your choice, still or moving. The secret is the weatherproof laser design that creates beautiful shimmering patterns of light. Now you can instantly have shooting stars from your landscaping all the way to the rooftop. Don't pay hundreds for ugly, spotty lighting. Get the vibrant green Star Shower Motion for just $49.99. But wait, we'll give you a free instant upgrade to the Deluxe Red-Green Dual Laser. But we're not done yet. Also get the Deluxe Indoor Base free. Now you can easily have stars indoors too. You'll get Star Shower Motion plus the free bonuses. So call now.
Call 800-598-5037. That's 800-598-5037.
Are you behind on your mortgage? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your house underwater because you owe more than it's worth? Are you considering trying to get a loan modification on your own? Did you know that less than 5% of people who tried on their own actually got a modification? At the Mortgage Modification Helpline, we know the rules and regulations banks don't want you to know about. And we've helped thousands of people stay in their homes. Are you struggling to keep up? Are you past due on your mortgage? If so, we can help. It doesn't matter if you have bad credit, been turned down, or if you're currently getting the runaround from your lender. The call and consultation is free, and it only takes a few minutes to find out if we can help. So call the Mortgage Modification Helpline today, and let's get your loan modified into one you can afford.
Please call 800-881-1716. That is 800-881-1716.
What they're talking about right now is a violation of the First Amendment.
The Glenn Beck radio program.
All Lives Matter covers all of it. I want police to live. I want black people to live.
It's today's news and politics.
He had the Tea Party people behind him. He couldn't get the establishment behind him.
And opinions you trust.
What president explains the anger of murderers?
We are trading away our liberties piece by piece.
The Glenn Beck radio program. Weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern, only on The Blaze.
Let's talk about socialism, right? Let's talk about democratic control of meat production, right?
Like Cuba?
Like Cuba? Are the workers?
Like Venezuela?
Are North Korea?
Like Argentina?
Argentina?
Like Spain? Like Portugal?
Those are
like
all
Greece?
not socialist countries.
Wait,
the
Spain is not socialist? Portugal's not socialist?
Dude,
Venezuela's not
do
socialist?
the workers control all its
Cuba
means
is not
production? Do the
socialist?
workers control means
Is
production?
North Korea not socialist?
Is this country capitalist?
It's more capitalist than it is
All right,
socialist.
well, that's not
it's the
socialism
greatest
then.
country in the history of the world.
One of my closest friends schooling some libs. I love it. Joining me now, Turning Point USA founder and executive director Charlie Kirk. Charlie, we're reunited at last. Now, I've been in Dallas. You spend a lot of time in New York, very close to, you know, some very presidential folks as of recently. But you and I was a hard fight. You and I both worked very hard behind the scenes.
Very
me
hard.
vocally, you behind the scenes, grinding every single day to make this election happen. Got some good millennials out there, too. That's the first thing that I want to address, is that I even had some millennials, some Democrat millennials that said, well, we all voted for Hillary. We didn't want Trump. But that's not necessarily the case, Charlie. We had some millennial support for Trump.
We had more than people thought. And look, a lot of the Democratic models were thrown off completely. And so their turnout models were, well, we're going to get at least 48% from millennials. We're going to get this. So a lot of their equations were totally thrown off when they said, hold on a second, college turnout is down and we're not getting as many votes in these heavy college districts. So we threw a curveball. And make no mistake, Tommy, your persistence and your belief and your courage throughout this whole cycle made a difference. And, you know, you spoke out when it was difficult for Trump. And look, you had more views on your videos than most of the paid advertisement that the Trump campaign tried to do. So you made a big difference with millennials. I see it every day on college campuses. You know, you are the voice for young conservatives out there. So you made a difference. I tried where we could. We believed. And look, for all the pundits and all the experts out there, look, we won, you guys lost. It's just that simple.
Well, they were so wrong. The fact that they
So
have
wrong.
not come out now, I want to see every person in mainstream media, from CNN to ABC, that projected this was going to be a Hillary blowout.
Yes.
I would like to see them en masse come on television and say, guess what, we were wrong.
They would never say that.
Maybe you can't trust us anymore, because they won't take the hit on this. I watched the morning of the election. I watched them all laugh about it. I watched folks in this very building laugh about the prospect of a President Trump. They just didn't think it was going to happen. There was no way in heck it was going to happen. We held the hope, though, through the most difficult times. And it wasn't just because we were Republicans and we wanted to get the Republican candidate elected. That was part of it. But you and I sat there through difficult times, and we supported the candidate because we believe that's what's best for the American people.
And look, I remember you and I sitting through some very difficult times. Let's just put it that. When there was some news that broke, and we're like, hey, if he doesn't win, this country's done. And the Western civilization will never be the same. And look, he, to his credit, outworked Hillary Clinton. And he had people that, some that you know, Gentry Beach, Tommy Hicks, that stepped up, and they really put their lives on hold. And it's amazing how 10, 12, 20 patriots doing everything they possibly can change the course of history, because the establishment didn't want Trump to win. Congress didn't want Trump to win. Some people in the Republican Party didn't. The media, the elites, the donor class. And so it took patriots like you, sometimes like me, and these other, that stood up and said, you know what? We're going to take a stand for America, for freedom, and we're going to run against all these institutions. And I think Trump was actually very smart to run against the system, the drain the swamp message. You know, I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat, it's all corrupt. And look, he shocked the world. It's pretty amazing to see.
And the Democrats that came out and voted for Trump in those Rust Belt states that no one thought he could win, that was amazing as well.
Unbelievable. He might have rewritten the electoral map for generations. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. I mean, these are states that Republicans just don't win. Right. You know, I love Chuck Todd on the Sunday before the election. Well, the Democrats have the blue wall. Well, the blue wall's no more.
The blue wall does not know Donald Trump and the message of his wall.
And Minnesota was 2 points.
I know. He would have even spent a little bit more time there.
And you're from that region of the world.
Yes.
I mean,
well, Minnesota. I'm from South Dakota. We're a solid red state, but I know how they think in Minnesota.
Right.
Yes. Oh, no, I know.
There's Minneapolis and there's real America.
Yeah.
And
no.
Meaning, like, you understand, like, a couple points there, you could have a red wave from Pennsylvania, Minnesota. Next election in 2020, Minnesota's now in play. You know, if he would have done 5 more rallies there, you can make an argument. He had 1 rally in Wisconsin the last month. He wins by 3 points.
Because people are just sick and tired of business as usual. But now you've been close to the Trump team through this transition, and I see you tweet about it, and I see it as well. You know, they counted us out from the beginning. They said that he wasn't going to run. They said that he wasn't going to be the nominee. They said he wasn't going to win the election, and now they're saying, well, his transition is a mess, and he's going to be a horrible president. But you've been there. What can you tell us?
Look, I have to give credit to Steve Bannon, to Reince Priebus. They're running an unbelievably professional operation. You look at prior presidents when they get elected and when they actually start to select cabinet positions. The earliest was about a month in. We're, what, 13, 15 days in? Trump already has his attorney general lined up. He has he's chief national security advisor. He's going to come and roll out with some new picks. He's way ahead of schedule. The way I look at it, he's running this like a business, not like a government bureaucracy. He doesn't owe favors to anybody.
And the best man wins.
The best man,
or the best woman wins. That's what it is.
Position. You look, if Hillary Clinton would have won, you know what she would have done? She would have like, well, so who gave me the most money on what date?
Let's get the Clinton Foundation roster out here. And,
Trump is, show me what you're going to do for the country. Show me how you're going to advance the agenda that got me elected. And I can tell you what, spending time with the Trump family, you know what really guides them? They ask them the question, did the American people give us this mandate? Did they give us the mandate to repeal Obamacare? Yes. To cut taxes? Yes. To stop illegal immigration? Yes. But when there's other issues that come up, they ask the question, what did the people send us here to do? That's an amazing thing. Never before have we really seen that. Even from Bush to Clinton, going back 30, 40 years, it's always like, well, I'm glad we told them that. Now let's actually do what we want to do. I think we're going to see actually things get done for the American people for the first time in a long time.
I think, though, because we have this incredible opportunity, it's a lot of responsibility as well, not only on Donald Trump, but on both houses of Congress, because we have them, and we have no reason to BS around anymore. But the thing that I fear, because I think that Trump was able to win on that message, he was able to win on the issues of the economy, immigration, national security, but more so the economy and immigration, I think, than anything else. So I think what's frustrating for me is I see conservatives and those in our own party saying, well, now his first mandate should be, let's go after Roe v. Wade. And I sit back and I think, okay, I don't think that's the first priority. As you said, the mandate that's coming from the American voter was not, let's get rid of Roe v. Wade. It wasn't, let's get rid of same-sex marriage. That wasn't what he campaigned on, and that wasn't his agenda. So we need to focus on the things that are most important. But do you think that the Republicans are going to be with him on this, that they're going to understand the mandate from the American people?
I think so. And look, I think Paul Ryan is going to have to take the directive from President Trump. And in a lot of ways, the Trump agenda that he got elected on is very parallel to that of what Paul Ryan, I think, wants to accomplish. Repealing Obamacare, lowering corporate taxes, fixing our broken immigration system, cutting spending. How many times did you hear Donald Trump say, we have stupid people running our government, all the waste? He talked about that a lot. And that's right in line with what Paul Ryan talks about. I mean, look, and good justices, I mean, that's something that's a huge mandate for even McConnell and Ryan and Trump. So I think you're going to see the first 6 months of Congress a lot of agreement. And look, if they repeal Obamacare, I can't tell you how good of a thing that is for this country. I mean, there's so much wrong with that law that to get that done, I mean, it'll be phenomenal.
Even Bill Clinton knew that, and you know he.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to say this thing's totally crazy. It doesn't make any sense. You're exactly right.
He was, but that's because they wanted to move towards single payer. So we're hoping that we don't go that route. I'm sure we will not. But you know, I'm excited right now. I think it's an opportunity. I think even some that voted for Hillary were excited because now they see President Trump come in, and whether it be any other conservative they would have put in there, the Democrats would say, well, it's not my guy. And they're still saying that about Trump. But this is an opportunity to say this isn't the typical Republican. It's not the typical conservative. It's just an American. It's a businessman.
Common sense. Let's fix some stuff. Let's put America first again.
Let's be honest and let's tackle the issues that Americans care about and not dive into the swamp. But, you know, there has been some talk as well, the uproar, whether it be, I mean, if he goes to dinner with his family or VP Pence goes to a Hamilton play, they're going to pick apart every little thing that he does. Last week, the news of the week was Steve Bannon, of course. Everyone was upset. We've got a white supremacist, an elitist, a nationalist, anti-Semitic. He's in there and he's going to take over the White House. You've been around the Trump transition team. You've been around Steve Bannon. Can you give us, you know, some words of comfort?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a BS. It's a bunch of BS, first and foremost. I mean, you look at Breitbart.com, the site that he ran. They have Breitbart Jerusalem as one of their subsections of their website. He has 10 Jewish reporters. He's fought against BDS time and time again through the journalism of Breitbart.com. Steve Bannon is very close friend to Joel Pollack, one of the editors-in-chief, who's a Jewish of Breitbart. Not to mention Jared Kushner, who's like this, with Steve Bannon, is an Orthodox Jew, observes Saturday as the Sabbath, with Ivanka, who is now a converted Jew. And they get along really well. So where is it? You know what it is? When the media gets worried, they pull out their very favorite weapons. You're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, labels. And all the anti-Semite, all these. And look, they pull out some very, I would say, fringe articles from Breitbart.
Well, they're doing to Jeff Sessions. They're saying, well, back then there was one person that said that you said something that was racist.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he was the one that actually fighted for the desegregation of schools in Alabama. He's the guy that has fought against the KKK in his home state. So look, it's a bunch of balderdash. It's a bunch of BS, you know, to use a more politically correct term. I think what I look forward to the most is that Trump doesn't care what the media says.
He doesn't.
And what else is the media going to throw at him? I mean, today he met with the media executives from NBC to CNN. These people did everything they possibly could to stop him from winning, and then he invites them in. Same with Mitt Romney. And he's acting like the bigger leader. So let's ask a question. you know, if Hillary Clinton would have won, do you think she would have, you know, brought in all of her political adversaries? Of course not. She would have had them audited. You know,
well, of course. Well, that's an excellent point.
At the very least.
Well, my last question for you, let's end it on a fun note.
Sure.
What happens to Hillary now? Where does she go? What does she do?
You know, she looks terrible.
Well,
seriously.
I mean, that has not changed in 2 weeks.
Meaning she's like, she looks like she's, you know, her whole life is kind of like one of the greatest thrills I've had over the last year is to see just the confidence and the assuredness that she was going to be president of the United States just smashed. That's the glass ceiling that got smashed. I was happy
It
about.
was, and it's not because she's a woman. It's not because we want to see anybody that's disappointed. I understand this is going to be very hard for her, but the fact that she walked into that election on her, you know, her white horse, thinking that she was just going to take it away and she was going to win. You know, they rented out that giant center. They were ready to have a victory party. They had a glass ceiling. Yep. They were going to have fireworks, and then all of a sudden, it just didn't quite turn out.
Where she goes, I'm not sure. You know, if I was Trump, I wouldn't make it a primary objective to try to press charges. I think it's a lost cause. The Clinton machine has been destroyed. And it took Donald Trump, of all people, to first beat the Bush machine, then beat the Clinton machine and the media machine. We've witnessed history here, and you and I were on the front row of it when a lot of people said we were nuts.
We certainly were. We didn't run away when it got more difficult because, like we said, we're comparing Donald Trump to Hillary Clinton. We're comparing Donald Trump to the rest of the people in the swamp. We're not comparing him to God. So here we have a president who's not perfect, but I think he's going to make an excellent president. He's going to be a good leader. We've seen that so far. Charlie, as always,
thank you, Tommy.
Thank you so much. See you on Facebook in a little bit. And coming up, what better way to help our veterans than man's best friend? The Pause Act does just that. Cole Lyle and his partner in crime, Kaya, are with me next. Don't miss it. Welcome back. So what if helping our veterans recover from PTSD was as simple as providing them with a service dog? Well, it is. My next guests have dedicated their time to making the Pause Act happen. Joining me now, Pause Foundation founder and CEO Cole Lyle and his dog, Kaya. Welcome back. We've done a few things together, and I've seen you at multiple events, but it's nice to have you, and that's my favorite dog in the world besides my own, Kaya. And you guys have been traveling around the country trying to get this thing pushed. Where are we at now with it, and what can we do to help you get it passed?
Absolutely. So Kaya and I have been lobbying members of Congress for the last year and a half. For your viewers that maybe aren't up to speed on this, we have 2 bills in Congress right now, H.R. 4764 in the House and then S. 3132 in the Senate. Right now, the bills are kind of stalled out in committee, but going forward, we're looking at the 115th Congress. Donald Trump has donated over $350,000, I think, at last count, to service dog organizations that have done this. So in the 115th Congress, we'll definitely have administration support, I think, and obviously it'll be very easy to reintroduce the bills in the 115th Congress. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Outside of that, I'm actually working with an organization, an association of service dog providers for military veterans, and you can go to servicedogs4vets.org and have a lot of information to glean from that. But right now, we're just focused on trying to not only get the legislative aspect of this moving forward, but also on the back end work with airline provider, service industry providers like airlines, like hotels, to create a set of standards for service dogs that a lot of different organizations and people can get behind. So on the front end, we're still working the legislation, and we're looking at the 115th Congress at this point. But on the back end, I'm spending a lot of my time, and Kaya and I are traveling around the country to educate people in the service industry.
Right. Well, I think that's important as well, because I know that there have been some that have traveled with service animals. Usually they don't have a hard time, but sometimes there are instances that come up that, you know, flight attendants or other employees, they don't know how to respond to a service dog.
To me, yeah.
It has happened. Tell me some of those stories, because I think it is very important to understand.
So I've, you know, because people don't just see a veteran that is dealing with post-traumatic stress, you know, they may not have a physical injury that somebody can't see. So, and with people used to seeing, you know, seeing eye dogs or mobility dogs with veterans that, you know, are double amputees at the legs or something, they just don't see that. So they wonder why you have a service dog, right? So I've been kicked out of, you know, taxis, Ubers. We've flown at least 60 times. I've had an issue with probably every single airline that I've flown, every major one. Most of them reach out and are very, very quick and effective to say, hey, look, we made a mistake, we're sorry. You know, but as a veteran in the face of this, I'm okay with that happening to me, because it gives me an opportunity to kind of explain and educate these companies, because I'm working with with people in Congress to say, hey, look, this is why this is a problem. This is how we can fix it going forward. And that way, you know, it's better for veterans that maybe don't have the experience and expertise dealing with these kinds of issues.
Because there is nothing worse than being in that position, and especially if you're a veteran, you have a service animal, and then having to deal with a staff member or someone that doesn't understand, then trying to explain that to them. It's not a situation, you handle it very well, but I'm sure that there are others that would be uncomfortable
well,
with
sometimes
handling
I do.
it. Well, I mean, you handle it well that you understand, but I can
Yeah.
see that there would be some folks
Yeah.
that would get incredibly flustered by that. They wouldn't
Right.
know how to respond or react, and it's just better for everyone if we've got a uniform set of guidelines and bringing attention to it.
Absolutely.
So these service dogs, though, I mean, I know your dog is incredibly well behaved, but how do you source these dogs? How do you make sure that our veterans are getting dogs that are going to be able to service them in the best way, and then also be in an airplane or in a hotel and not cause a problem?
Right. So the association I'm working for, or working with right now, we're focused on, we have a lot of different member organizations. Jake Nold, who's the executive director over at Labs for Liberty, his organization is a member of the association. We're working with all these different organizations that are very highly rated charities to source dogs oftentimes from kennels and shelters. As long as they meet the requirements, they're very healthy dogs. Their temperament is very even-keeled. They're trainable. Not every dog makes it, but the vast majority of them do. So we're getting dogs from shelters that can be trained. We train them effectively. And then we're also, like I said, the association is focusing on trying to get one set of standards so that these service industries can kind of have one set of standards that all these service dogs are going by, so there's no discrepancies based on certifications, because that is kind of a problem. There are people that just strap vests on the dogs and call them service dogs.
Yeah, or therapeutic dogs,
Right.
or, you know, what have you. So to have a uniform set of standards is so
Right,
important.
and
to
that's
make
something
sure.
that's very, very key to us going forward, and something that we're trying to educate people on.
So that people don't abuse it as well. And so it is
Exactly.
reserved for those that really need these animals,
Right.
and making sure that it's accessible. I think that that's the best way we can help our veterans, because the government's not going to do it in many cases. So allowing organizations like Labs for Liberty and what you guys are doing to go out and advocate for it, and then just seeing the dogs and see how they interact. I've seen them multiple times, whether it be a Lab or a German Shepherd. The way they're able to calm their owner and the way they're able to provide that is amazing. So thanks for everything you've done. So give us those websites one more time where they can go to help you guys out and raise awareness.
So they can go to servicedogs4vets.org, and it's the number 4. So
Okay.
servicedogs4vets.org. Just check out that website. pawsact.com is another one you can go on and check out. That actually has the bills, the House bill and the Senate bill, that everybody can read and go on and
And your Instagram as well. I got like 1 second. What's your Instagram to follow your dog?
Kaya, Kayalyale. Follow that Instagram.
Kyle. All right, and I'll tweet that out as well. Oh, I love her Instagram and one of her many followers. But coming up, the left is all about tolerance unless they lose an election, and the labels come out harder than ever. I guess they don't get why they lost the election yet, so I'll help them out. My final thoughts are next. We'll be right back. For final thoughts. You know, I'm really getting sick and tired of these leftists crying bigot, racist, sexist, and homophobe. Enough with your crap. Your labels don't work anymore. You've overused them, and now they're meaningless. And now, though that very narrative and strategy lost you the election, you want to occupy the stage, the screen, the streets, every award show, every athletic event, and of course, you've taken your fight to social media. But have you ever considered that maybe instead of making Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Jay-Z, Green Day, and theater performers your spokespeople, perhaps you journey to middle America and meet some of those hardworking Trump supporters, some even in your own party, that elected the man you hate. Turns out stage actors and tights and rap stars couldn't convince those folks that talk but do nothing policies would serve them in any way. Bummer. But now you're bitter. Now you're so bitter you're actually crying in the streets. Well, crying, blocking streets and rioting and beating people and burning flags, that too. Oh, and you've got a message for Trump voters, so let's hear it.
If you voted for Trump, I am tired of trying to see things your way while you sit in your holier-than-thou churches / white power meetups, refusing to see things mine. Did I just lump you in with white supremacists? No, you did that to yourselves. You voted for the same candidate as the KKK.
Listen here, if churches are somehow white power meetups, what the hell do you call this? Yeah, I thought so. And lady, I'd like to remind you that the KKK was the brainchild of the Southern Democratic Party. So for the rest of your life, you can live with the fact that you are in the party that founded the KKK and now aids and abets the militant Black Lives Matter More movement. But please, go ahead and drop your labels again.
If you voted for Trump, I do think you're a racist. I do think you're homophobic. I do think you're a misogynist.
This is what separates the Democrats from the Republicans. We may insult your leaders, but we don't viciously attack and insult the millions of Democratic voters in this country, many of whom voted for Donald Trump, by the way, and many for that exact reason. 61 million Americans are not racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic, or any other countless labels you try to smack on us. But please go after our small backward towns. Go right ahead.
Your petty backward state and your small angry towns can pay for your own schools to not educate your children. I live in California, the largest economy in the United States and the 6th largest in the world. We'll be fine.
And we are the hateful, intolerant ones? Sure. The left is all about tolerance so long as it fits their narrative. If not, they pay people to incite violence at political rallies or protests, all because they are sucky losers and, quite frankly, shameless. The Democratic Party was once the party of the American worker. You won elections by winning over the Rust Belt, but now your party has shunned those folks in favor of illegal immigrants, Black Lives Matter more activists, and celebrities. That's why you lost, and not just the presidency. That's why you lost big in Congress and state and local races around the country. We're Americans. We're Americans who elected Donald J. Trump to be our president. And if that hurts your feelings or offends your morals, go sing about it on stage, but let the rest of us get back to work, because we happen to have a lot of pride in our small backward towns, and we always will. Your candidate lost, and guess what? Sometimes it just sucks to suck. Those are my final thoughts. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tomi Lahren from Dallas. God bless, and take care.